Does that not make sense?
Not really, no.
Look, you shouldn't even be looking at cars like this. No offence, you need. So just picked up these little Terrors from Moores after having had their MOTs done. So we got the Death Threat or Hyundai i10. If you don't know what that means, you probably need to watch some of my earlier videos. And we've got the base model Mirage. Both have got brand new MOTs. The Mirage, I've got new tyres all the way around. I don't think it needed much more than that. The guys adjusted the clutch for me and it turned out you guys were right. It was manually and it was adjustable, so that's improved a bit. They did say it's not a massive difference. I said, well, do you think it needs a clutch? And they said, no, not at all. It said it's just the way those things drive. So they said, you know, it's a bit on and offy being a cable. And I do know from the i10s, as the cables start to get a bit more corroded, they don't move so smoothly up and down. The cable in the sheath doesn't move up and down so smoothly. So that can make them a little bit more grabby, but to be honest, I'm probably again overdoing it a bit. I just drove it back absolutely fine. So that now needs a valet and needs to get a washed and puffed out. I think some of the dents I was seeing is actually the curvature in the front wing here. There is a certain level of curvature to the front wing there, but I will get my hand in there and try and pop a bit more out. But as somebody said in the comments, for probably under 4k, something like 3995 for a 2015 car, 65,000 miles, an advisory free MOT on it, and new tyres all round, it's going to be a cheap car for someone, isn't it, really? Cheap motoring, because it's zero road tax as well on about 60 miles to the gallon. So if you're looking for something that's just absolutely the cheapest thing to run, and something you're not going to have to really put any money into at all, then that's the one to go for. The i10, that needed a couple of brake pipes doing to it, and I can't remember what the other stuff were. There were a couple of rusty brake pipes that we did, a couple of other minor things as well, and again, nothing major. Don't know why I'm getting all this glare at the moment. Again, so that now needs a really good clean, and again, I need to tackle a couple of dents on it. Try and pop these, touch in a couple of bits of the paint down here, but I'll just be touch-ins. This is not going to be any minter, so it's going to have to be priced accordingly. So I will price it keenly, but it'll still have a few scrapes and bits and bobs on it because I cannot do all the paint all the way around on this one. If you remember, it had been vandalised. It's got some light scratching which the red wax might help a little bit with, and a bit of a polish, but after that it'll be as it is. But again, it's got a brand new advisory free MOT on it, £30 road tax, 50 miles to the gallon. You know I love an i10. They're just cracking little cars. So yeah, so we've moved away from the Jags and all that kind of stuff. We've got two little runabout cars all ready to go. So just noted, reversing the ASX back, that the camera's decided to pack up, getting a totally blank screen. So I've been trying to source one down off the part number, which is because I don't want to have to adapt it for aftermarket. That'd be a nightmare. So I managed to find one in Europe, still 60 odd quid, but again, you know, you think if it takes me half an hour to adapt an aftermarket one, I'm better off just paying for a genuine one. Right, the squeaking door on this is driving me nuts, so I need to find out what's going on with it. So I'm going to take the door card off because lubricating the rubber's made no difference at all. I've heard tell the pulley wheels inside dry out where the cables run, and that makes it squeal. So I'm going to see if I can have a look at that. I'm not sure exactly how I get to them. These are all very strange fittings, aren't they? So yeah, I'll be learning as I go. Well, I might have to bow out of this gracefully because I can't see any way of getting to what I think might be making a noise. I can see the runners there, so I can get some lubrication to that, and it does seem to be this side more than the other side, so I'll see if I can't get some lubrication on the runner there. I think maybe I was looking at the wrong model when I heard about their pulley wheels. I'll just have to get in and lubricate whatever I can. I don't see why it needed a full skin all the way over here. Much better to be able to see what's going on inside. Let's get some lube in there and see if it makes any difference. So I've nicked the top of a WD-40 can, and I'm getting in here and I'm squirting it up and down. Well, obviously it's silicone grease, and I'm just squirting as far up and as far down as I can get, and I'll do that both sides and just see if it doesn't leak. No, not a blind bit of difference. Just had about 4 coatings of the Autoglym rubber refresh. It's been gone over with in a brush to clean it up, and I've lubricated everything in the motors. Still sounds like the rubber to me at the top. I don't know what you can do other than replace this, I guess. So again, something just to let the owner know about and factor it in, I guess. Don't know if the outside or the inside, you might have to replace both. So we cleaned down the Golf hood, gave it a good going over with G101 and the nail brush. Let's have a little look inside and see if we've got any wet inside or not. No, well, it dry as a bone, guys. So if we can jet wash it, I'm sure it's going to withstand rain. I have to say, the entire time I've had it, I've never noticed any leaks in it, so it seems that the hood's good. We'll give the hood another rinse off because we don't want a G101 sitting on that fabric and in the hot sun and potentially bleaching it, so we'll give it another rinse out. But it looks you know, good tidy hood. There's no major mold or anything on it. And then we'll get in and clean here. Now I have ordered myself a ozone cleaner. You kept saying in the comments, get an ozone cleaner, James, get an ozone cleaner. So I've got one on Amazon. It's arriving tomorrow. This car doesn't actually really smell. There's a slight smell of smoke. So we'll try it out on this one, and then we'll try it on, obviously, the big test is the dog hair one. This one we'll give a hoover out inside. We'll give the base of the seats a wet clean, because I think the seats inherently are clean, and then it'll just be a hoover and a plastic treatment in here. So the panels are actually really good, like this panel, they're really good. Bonnet's good. It's just this corner here where you get, I don't know what they've done, they've got a slight yellowing of the paint there. And obviously I wasn't that impressed with the fit in there. And then I just noticed through cleaning it, which I hadn't noticed before, is the rear panel here is dinged. We've got a crease along here. And then there, I don't know how I think I noticed there was a shallow dent there before, but I don't think it's a clean it. I realised it came along to here. And there's a little bit of a nasty touch up there. Not great. But as I said many times before, I think retail for this is in the 5s, mid-5s, non-cat, and this is going out at 3.5. I can't repair everything, bring it up to the same standard and then sell it that much cheaper. So again, just be clear and concise with the customer, point these things out, don't let them find them for themselves, and if they still want the car, then they're good to go. So a bit of a waste of time taking that door card off and doing all that. Well, I guess it's not a waste of time. I've shown at least I've shown I've made a proper effort to try and resolve it, but looking online, so many people are saying the same thing and have not been able to resolve it at all. I guess, like I say, the only next thing you could do is replace those rubbers, but some of them said that even that didn't solve it apparently. Right, let's get her inside, give her a wax and a detail inside, and we'll be all set. So that's Wester Fire England done on my fire extinguishers. I have to say, it was a certified bargain, to be fair. Good to use someone local as well. Yeah, I'm giving them a shout out because, not because I've said to them anything about YouTube or anything, they don't know anything about it. Obviously I'm not big enough to really affect them. But to come out here and service all of those, and the guy was out for a good hour, it was something like £38 plus VAT, and that was 6 fire extinguishers. And they said if I use any of the fire extinguishers, they'll come and top them up for free. And that's only once a year they need to come for that £38. So I honestly don't know how they can actually make money sending a chap out doing that, to be fair. I did buy another fire extinguisher off them on their advice, because they said I didn't have a foam one in both units, I had a foam one in one unit. But that was only like 50 quid odd plus the VAT. So yeah, thumbs up to West of England for that. Definitely give anybody like that who does that kind of service, you know, a shout. My bits and bobs, I've dug out some Colour Magic white polish and some soft top protector. So we'll bung those two on, clean the glass, and it's ready for a photo shoot. There we go, interior's had a good clean up. Come up really, really nice. As I said, I thought the interior on the car was good. It never ceases to amaze me though, to be fair, how much, even though I have a clean interior, the bizzle will pull out of that filthy, filthy water. That was just from cleaning the bases of the seats. But like I say before, they looked clean anyway, didn't they? But yeah, it's amazing what it'll pull out. So yeah, nice, clean, tied interior. The interior's in really, really good nick. There's one big major plus with this car. And that hood's dried out, and that's in really good nick. There's a couple of little spots. I might try and do a little bit more. I don't know why it's quite so bright, that stuff there. Let's try and attack that a little bit more and see if we can't get a bit more off that. But yeah, overall the hood's good. There's not even any sort of like worn thread areas which you normally get. Engine bay's looking good too. After clean up and a plastic shine on it. Looking really nice. So the Golf's all done and looking fantastic, really is. But it's decided to have a last laugh on me. The battery ran flat while I think I left a load of stuff open on it all day, and the battery went flat. So I jump started it, moved out of here, done all my pictures, but I think I've upset all the electronics for the roof and the windows. They seem to be doing funny things. I need to do like a master reset. Roof still goes up and down. But that window that window would stay down a few millimeters a second ago, and it's just taken itself up now, and then it wouldn't work at all. So then I need to lock and unlock the car, and then it does work. Yeah, it's just plain silly bugger. I had a little look in the menu on the car, and I found a factory reset option in the menu. So I've done that, and it all seems to be working as it should now. So fingers crossed that's what it was. But I think I need to get the battery fully recharged. But she looks good in the showroom here, doesn't she? It's a lot of motor for 3.5, isn't it? And I'm pleased to say my fiddling around with the edge here, you will see that it looks a lot better. Not sticking out anywhere near as much now. Now obviously I could do with getting the matching paint, the correct matching paint for this bit here, just to tidy it up a bit, but I'll see if I can get a touch up for that. But that's certainly a lot better, isn't it? Sorry, I'm on my phone so the picture isn't that great. But yeah, the rest of it's come up really, really well. Bar, like I say, dinging the boot lid, which I can kind of see why I didn't really notice it before, because being white, it isn't actually, if you look at certain angles, that obvious. And then the inside came out really nicely. And it's blazing sunshine, so it's the right time to get it up for sale. See how we get on. The Polo, when I get the Polo back, I need to leave it sitting overnight. And if it's leaking oil past the seals, it'll sit on top of the piston, and when I start it, it will smoke. Okay, if it doesn't then smoke when I start it.
If they run warm up and then rev it, you know, not flat out, but just rev it, see if you've got a bit of blue smoke out the back.
So if it's then smoking when it's warm, it'll be rings. So those two things will tell me without having to drive it loads of miles.
Yeah,
right.
If it's got a leak, and as soon as you see a leak by now.
So if it's not doing either of those things, then it's coming out the bottom of the engine.
Well, yeah, probably. If it's a litre every 30 miles, it's pretty serious.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah, I mean, you won't be able to see it driving, it'll be out smoky.
No.
It's definitely not going to be so.
That's what I thought. If it's using a litre in 30 miles on the motorway, it'd be pouring out the back, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah. So it's definitely not that.
It'd be a smoke screen behind you.
Yeah, it's probably both stem fuels.
And so why does it do it more at 70 mile an hour than it is at 60 mile? Because he reckons under 60 it's not doing it at all.
Well, I don't know. That's just a mystery.
Does that not make sense?
Not really, no, because oil's at the top of the cylinder all the time.
So first thing in the morning, Ferret from Oil Monster's been here. He tells me that's his name, that's what everybody calls him, so I don't mind using it. Now, just want to put a shout out to Oil Monster really about Ferret. You see a lot of companies come by and do work for you, and most of them don't have a lot of good things to say about their company. But this chap, totally unprompted, I haven't said anything about YouTube by the way, totally unprompted, raving about the business. I was saying, "Oh, I treat you well, do you?" Telling me about how Oil Monster treat him. And I have to say, it was really refreshing to hear. I know West Country Fire yesterday, chap from there also, you know nothing about YouTube, raved about his company, and it's so nice to hear people being positive about the companies they work for. He was positive about all the back end staff, that at the office that book it all in, which is normally, you know, between drivers and the staff in the offices is normally a bit of, you know, you get a bit of that. I'm used to that from my corporate days. But no, he was absolutely raving about Oil Monster. So, and thoroughly helpful chap. So yeah, shout out to Ferret from Oil Monster and to Oil Monster for being a cracking boss. Yeah, and as he was such a top geezer, I've sent him with a tip to go down to the log cabin and get himself a fry up because he was here first thing this morning. But yeah, that's done me a solid. So I'm cleared out of all my old oil. I don't think I'll be able to do that again because I'm not really doing servicing anymore. Very rarely anyway. So that's a cost that people don't associate with the business as well, by the way, guys. When we're talking about all the costs of running a business, you've got to have your oil taken away. You can't just go taking it down the tip. You've got to actually pay for it to professionally be taken away. So there's a cost involved in that, which is why, you know, dealer services and dealer servicing is higher. So why have I got the blue Fiat 500 back in that I sold at Christmas? Well, this is the one that I sold to Ian's daughter, Ian, the gas guy. So I'll drop a link to his channel down below. And when I sold him the car, I did say to him that I thought the panel gaps here, because this was a previous cat car, weren't that great. And I'd order some new clips in and to try and tidy up. I always talk myself into more work, don't I? I should shut up when I'm selling and just keep my mouth shut. But his daughter absolutely loves the car. Martine absolutely loves the car. She's gone to town and done a few bits and bobs on it. She's put the logos down the side, the badges on the front wings, the wind deflectors. People do this with Fiat 500s, they personalise them quite a lot. But this was a cracking looking car in the first place. And again, being a cat car, she got a storming deal on it. I was talking to Ian about it and he was saying, you know, he's had a look around and there's, you know, she couldn't get anywhere near this car for the money otherwise. So yeah, good to have another pleased customer. But now we've got to see if it is just the clips or not. Now the reason I say it might be the clips on these is they're held in by rivets, and if there's a bump, the rivets get pulled out of the wing a little bit. So riveting new clips in often closes the gap up, or the clips themselves bend down slightly. And I've got it at the front of the garage here because obviously this angle gives me access to take the bottom bolts out quite easily. So fingers crossed, it shouldn't be too much of a job. I just hope it does pull it in tighter because it'll be a bit ashamed to do it and then not make any difference. So after both captive nuts either side deciding they were going to spin rather than sit there and having to use a pair of grips to hold it in place and make a little notch in the wheel arch liner with the soldering iron just so I could get it in there. I finally got the bumper off, so we can look at the clips here. We can see the reason this front one was low is because this bolt here holding this in is loose and it's letting that one go down and the end of it's broken off. So that's why it was low on the front of the corner of here, but tight all the way along here because these are decent. I'm used to them being riveted in actually. Yeah, riveted in this side, bolted in the other side. I wish they're all bolted in, so I'm going to have to get the rivets out for this one. This one was hanging down at the back and we can see that this isn't actually bad, they're in place, but the clips are a little bit old, so hopefully replacing it will improve it. But the front of that one is broken off, so that will stop it being so tight. So the next thing is got to drill out the holes on these two rivets here as well. But the bolt ones the other side, the colour of the body, they look almost original, but maybe it's an aftermarket wing or something that's got those on. But it certainly makes it easier if you can bolt and unbolt them. Now I have opted on this side to use rivets rather than those two screws, as much as I was saying how great they are. Just to upset the next person that repairs the car. No, it's because it didn't hold them anywhere near as tight to the body as the rivets do. I do like to use, there is a later clip you can get for the later cars, like 2015 onwards, which has got here. They improved it and made it quite a bit thicker. It came out a little bit further, it's quite a bit thicker, and the edge of the bumper clipped fully into it. But I couldn't get any of those for love nor money at the moment, which is a bit upsetting. But this will be a tight fit when it goes back on. Now, whether the gap will be ideal or not, we're about to find out. Because these still can be a bit finicky. And it obviously comes down to, well, that tab there is broken, so we need to melt that together. Try and support that a little bit, try and help improve things that way as well. But you see, the problem with it is they don't go right to the front corner here, they stop short just there, which is why you get this little gap quite often. But let's melt that back together, see if we can't give a bit more strength there. That's the rivets out. Top tips if you're doing a 500 is make sure that this is perfectly flat before putting your, if you're doing a crash damage repair one, you think the wing's okay, and you pulled the bumper. If it's pulled those down at all and bent this outwards, you'll again struggle with your gap. So give it a tap with a hammer and make sure that's totally level when you put your clip on. The first clip on, you can see how much tighter to the body that is than the old clip that came off, and that's what causes the 500 bumpers to sag away. You need to put new clips on when doing repairs on these, otherwise you'll always get those horrible gaps. So all get back together as expected. It's not perfect. This side, it's tightened it right up along here, but we've still got a bit of a gap here. Well, it's not hanging as anywhere near as low as it was. And the other side, it's tight the other end, and still got a bit of a gap here, but again not as big as it was. I find this with 500s, guys, if people have been fiddling around with them, they put aftermarket panels on, it can be, you can be chasing yourself forever and a day trying to get these lines perfect. I've even seen cars that haven't been in cat, they've just had garage repairs where the gaps aren't right on them when they put the bumper back on again. The clips a lot of the time will improve things, but not always 100%. So I'll have to go back and look at the video previously and see what the gaps were, but I do think they've improved. I don't think they're hanging as low, but short of, I don't know what more I could do, to be honest. Like I say, I don't know about that panel could be aftermarket, the bumper could be aftermarket. That's why preferably, you know, obviously I haven't done this work myself, but on my cat repairs, I'd rather get a genuine used panel than a new aftermarket panel, because they tend to go together that bit better. Anyway, we'll move that out and on to the next thing. As always though, nothing goes out of Chop's garage dirty, so we've given it a clean over with waterless wax on the wheels, and then a bit of tyre shine on. I've still got to drive it back to the house, so it will get some dirt on it. Well, this customer does keep her car very clean, I have to say, which is why I was able to do it just with waterless wax, because every time I've seen it, it's been super clean. So I put the RAV4 up on Facebook for £1,500, and after a night of being bombarded with just, I put it as sold. I'm going to stick it through Copart or BCA. Just put it through the auctions. So the kind of things I was getting was, I had one lady message me say, any known faults with it? I said, you know, is there any faults with that? I said, well, the top end's a bit tappety. And I said, but it's also a 16-year-old car with 128,000 miles on it, so it's going to have faults. Note, I'd put this down as a trade sale only. I'd sell it as trade sale only, or spares or repair. And she came out and said, oh, I'll have to give that a miss then. I'm on my own and I've got a newborn and I haven't got any more money than that. And I said, look, you shouldn't even be looking at cars like this. No offence, you need to find someone who will sell you something with a warranty. So you've got some kind of comeback. You shouldn't even be looking at cars like this. And then the rest of the messages are similar things, you know, what's wrong with it, what needs to be fixed. And it's like, well, if I knew exactly what needs to be fixed, I'd do it. Again, you know, and just, you know, are there any faults with it? Again, I just kept messaging people saying it's a 16-year-old car with 128,000 miles on it. I've been using it to get back and forth to work every day for 3 days, and I've not had a problem with it, you know, other than it being tappety. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's just not worth the hassle, because this is the problem as a car dealer. You can't win. You put it down spares and repair. You tell people you don't exactly know what the fault is, and then, you know, you still get people coming along with limited budgets who want guarantees. And they, you know, doesn't matter whatever you say to them, if there's a problem with the vehicle later on, you're going to be on, you know, told that you've missold people or you're a dodgy dealer or whatever. People can't get their heads around it. If you want guarantees, go and buy a brand new car. Plenty of you will have story of cars you've bought that are older, that have done you well, and you've never had a single problem with them, all that kind of stuff. But it's blind luck, guys. You buy cars that old, 16 years old, you are gonna have to put money into them. End of. It's an absolute gamble as to what you're going to get. So again, yeah, loads of love stories. I bought a car that's, you know, it's 20 2000, it's year 2000, it's year 2005. It's never missed a beat. And then when you start to question people, oh yeah, well I did the brakes, I did the suspension, I did the blah, 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 blah. It's a total gamble. Do not go out buying cars, budget cars, you know, and expect them to not have any problems. And there's not a dealer in the world could prep a car and sell it to you for £1,500 and guarantee you everything's going to be fine with it. It's just not going to happen.